questions, do you recommend journaling to get in touch with repressed emotions? Is it wise or unwise to use it to get into touch with emotions whenever you have a pain flare? That's a two-part question. So what journaling does, so the person who was really responsible for journaling as a way to work through emotions is James Pennebaker. And I happened to do my undergraduate honors program with him. So I know this literature super, super, super well. And the magic is that you are creating a period of time where you're retelling your story. The whole thing behind therapeutic journaling is retelling your story. It's you start with a story that is maybe what you experienced, you inherited from your life, and you start to make sense of it and you change the interpretation. Because in those studies, the amount of benefit that someone experiences is related to how much they use words like realize, understand, insight, figure out, all of these words that are associated with transforming understanding. So it's the people who used journaling by discussing emotions. So for instance, if they had journaling that didn't discuss emotions, they did that set of experiments too, where you just rationally talk about something, you do not see the therapeutic benefit. So in order to see the therapeutic benefit, you do need to bring in emotions, but in a way where you're open to new interpretations. And how it's been explained that I think really makes sense is that you're beginning with a story. And how are you using the journal? Are you using the journal to continue repeating that same story to yourself? Or are you exploring new meanings of the story? And there's also one of the interesting, quirky things about that literature. There's something really therapeutic about the act of expression. It can be writing, it can be air writing. I actually did that experiment where you write in the air. It can be talking to someone. So in all of these situations, it is externalizing, getting whatever the story was out into the world, out of yourself, either in written form or verbal form. That's part of that therapeutic transformation of the story. And one of the other things that often isn't emphasized whenever people talk about this is that by expressing your story, your inner thoughts, one of the reasons why it's thought to be so helpful is that it's reducing the weight of inhibition. It is physical work to keep your story to yourself. There's a burden to it, there's an emotional burden. And just by the act of expressing your story, it's actually creating less physical work in that. And these are some older experiments that was done by the same person, but whenever we keep secrets, whenever we don't express ourselves, it's encoded by the body as physical work. It's work to keep your truth in. That's another way of saying it. And so simply by expressing, even if you don't expect anything to change on the external, just by expressing, whether I see you, Brian, whether it's expressing to God or whether it's expressing to a friend or whether it's expressing, you don't want anyone else to know this, you're just expressing to your journal, just the act of expression is taking the weight out of your nervous system to where you don't carry it anymore.